So it's been 4 years since I bought my Steam Deck, and today Steam Deck sales are down an estimated 80%. Valve raised the price $240 or more, and people stopped buying. Yet, I'm playing mine more than ever. So I want to walk you through why I keep coming back to this thing 4 years later, and by the end of this video, you should know whether it's still worth buying for you. Last year, the value was obvious. Now it's more complicated. Let's get into it. Alright, first thing we got to talk about is what actually separates the Steam Deck from every other handheld, and it's not the hardware. It's the support around it. This machine is 4 years old, and normally that means it's on its way out the door. But my deck is genuinely better today than the day I unboxed it. Think about your smartphone for a second. Every update seems to make it a little slower and a little more cluttered with some annoying AI feature that replaces something useful like the power button menu, Google Pixel 11. Anyways, SteamOS has gone the exact opposite direction. So much so that people are daily driving it as their main OS. Then you have ProtonDB, where the community tells you exactly how a game runs before you spend a dime on it. And because the deck is one fixed set of specs, developers can actually target it. More games than ever ship with a developer-curated Steam Deck preset built in. And Deck Verified is not perfect, but it is manageable and it gives you an idea what you're walking into. Next up is Remote Play, and this is the feature that changed how much I use my Steam Deck significantly. If a game's not Deck Verified, I just stream it. If a game's heavily modded, I stream it. If a game's not even installed on the deck, I stream it. But if it's Deck Verified, already installed, and runs perfectly natively, well, I also stream it. I might be addicted. My gaming PC does the heavy lifting and the deck just becomes the screen and the controller. Battery life goes from 1 to 2 hours of native play to roughly 4 hours with better graphics when I'm streaming because the deck is barely working. And you can dock it to the TV and get your desktop graphics on the big screen using hardware you already own. This is the part people miss. You do not need to buy a Steam machine to get a console-like experience on your television. Just use your Steam Deck and a dock and Remote Play. Real quick, if you're getting something out of this, give that subscribe button a Steam slam. I make videos about getting more out of your tech and I would love to have you around. Alright, back to it. So the third reason I keep coming back is one I didn't expect, and that's how well this thing fits into your real life. I'm not going to tell you that it saved my marriage like some other videos and posts might, but sitting on the couch next to my wife instead of being off in another room is a real quality of life upgrade. Quick suspend and resume means I can put it down instantly to take care of my daughter or actually have a conversation and pick up exactly where I left off instead of just being dead and having to restart. That even works in games where you're not supposed to be able to pause. Elden Ring players know what I mean. The 800p screen is small enough that graphic settings matter way less than you think, so games look good without you fighting the menus. And when I travel, I do have a Switch 2 sitting right there. And I choose the deck every single time. It's chunky, but it's chunky in a good way, and you just can't beat taking your Steam library on the go. On top of all that, it is a full PC. I did some of the editing and prep for this video on my deck. I can write code on it, I can play keyboard and mouse games on it, and I'm not locked into one storefront either. I run alternative launchers on mine, so Battle.net games sit right alongside my Steam library instead of being off limits. Compare all of that to the price of an entry-level gaming laptop, and the math starts to look a bit different for price to value. And I have not even touched emulation yet, and there's an entire community of people who bought a deck for that and nothing else. Same with all the modding people do to these things, swapping cases and buttons or even the software interface to make their deck their own. That's all real value still waiting on the table for me, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Now, I would be doing you a disservice if I made this sound perfect, so let me give you some things that could be better on the deck. If a game is not deck verified, you might have to do some tinkering to get it running the way you want. Bluetooth has probably been the most inconsistent part of my experience. I connect a variety of headphones and speakers to mine, and some days one of them just does not want to cooperate. Anything involving third-party launchers, mods, or emulation means booting into desktop mode and spending some time in there to get it going. It's a benefit that it's not only a console because you can do more things, but it means it's not as smooth as an experience either. And if you're hoping this fully replaces your laptop or desktop, you'd need additional peripherals, and I personally wouldn't rely on it as my primary computer. None of those are deal breakers for me, but if you want a device that just works without you ever thinking about it, this is probably not that device. So, is it still worth it? Here's the honest answer. Community support, remote play, gaming on the couch and on the go. real PC features, and emulation. Count how many of those you would actually use and whether or not you have a preferred way to do them already. If you only want a console, the deck is probably not worth it for you at full price. But if 3 or 4 of those hit for you, then a new Steam Deck might be a good value for you. I can attest that they hold up pretty well, so if you can get one used, I'd recommend that option to save some money. Oh, and let's be honest, if things keep going the way they have been with PC components, then buying the deck at this price might look like a bargain a year from now. Ugh. And if you want to see exactly how I set up remote play so graphically intense games that are not deck verified run beautifully, I made a video on exactly that. You can check it out by clicking here.